Hey everyone! If you're gearing up for the lateral entry leap into the second year of engineering, tech, or pharmacy in West Bengal, you are exactly where you need to be. We know that digging through official exam bulletins is, well, it's basically like navigating a dense, confusing forest. But don't worry. This explainer is your ultimate cheat sheet for surviving and absolutely crushing JLET 2025. So, right off the bat, let's establish exactly where we're getting our intel. See the seal? Everything we're talking about today comes straight from the official 34-page rulebook put out by the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examinations Board. We're not just guessing here, we're taking their exact rules, their warnings, all that dense legal jargon, and breaking it down so you can just focus entirely on your prep. All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover your JELET 2025 roadmap, figure out if you're actually eligible, navigate the application minefield, decode the exam pattern, and finally, break down the scoring system. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, your JELET 2025 roadmap. Listen up, because timing is literally everything here. Saturday, October 18th, 2025. That is your big day. The exam runs from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and I really need to stress this point, it's right there in the rulebook. The JLET happens once, just once. There are absolutely no alternative dates, no makeup exams, no second chances if you miss it, period. So grab a red pen and circle that date on your calendar right now. Moving right along to Section 2, are you eligible? Before you hand over any registration fees, we really need to make sure you're actually allowed on the field. It can feel like a bit of a maze, but basically, you've got two main paths. If you've got a diploma in engineering, tech, or pharmacy, you guys are the priority. You just need 45% marks, or 40% if you're in a reserved category, and the best part, absolutely no upper age limit. Now, if you're coming in with a BSc, it's a slightly different story. You still need that 45%, but you also must have passed 12th grade math, and there is a hard age cap of 27 years. Plus, keep in mind, BSc candidates act as backups. You're only in the running for seats that are left over after all the eligible diploma holders have been placed. But wait, there's always an exception, right? And in this case, it's Jadavpur University. They set their own notoriously tough entry standards. If you're eyeing a seat there, that standard 45% just is not going to cut it. Jadavpur demands a massive 60% in your diploma exam, 45% for reserve categories. Oh, and they completely exclude BSc and DVO candidates from lateral entry altogether. So knowing the specific rules for your dream school is absolutely crucial. Now, what if you want to snag one of those state-sponsored or reserved category seats? You are going to need a West Bengal domicile certificate. You've got two main choices here. You'll go with Performa A1 if you personally have lived in West Bengal continuously for 10 whole years as of December 31st, 2024. But if you haven't lived there that long, but your parents are permanent residents, you'll use Performa B. And a quick pro tip, make sure you get these signed by these specific authorities listed in the bulletin. Elected officials like MLAs, yeah, they do not count for this. All right, Section 3, navigating the application. Okay, pay close attention because this step is an absolute minefield. A simple typo can literally cost you your exam. Look at this massive warning from the board. Once your primary registration details are submitted, meaning your name, your parents' names, your domicile status, and your date of birth, they are permanently locked. You cannot change them. The board won't fix them. So please double, triple, quadruple check these fields against your official ID cards before you even think about hitting that submit button. Once you've safely made it through data entry, it's time to pay the fee. It ranges from 500 rupees for general male candidates down to 200 rupees, depending on your category and gender. You've got to pay this digitally, net banking, debit or credit card, UPI, whatever works for you. But listen, the board explicitly warns against waiting until the last minute. Servers crash, payment gateways fail, and if your payment doesn't go through in time, your application gets tossed. And yeah, those fees, strictly non-refundable. Let's dive into Section 4, decoding the exam pattern. So you've survived registration. Awesome. Now let's look at the actual beast you'll be facing on October 18th. For most of you taking paper I, that's the Diploma in Engineering, BSc, and VOC candidates, you're looking at a 100-mark paper spread over 2 hours. And here's where you really need to strategize. Math is the undisputed heavyweight here, coming in at a massive 50 marks. Physics is next at 35, chemistry at 25, and fundamentals of electrical and electronics engineering rounds it out with 10. Math and physics are your absolute biggest targets. Crush those, and you basically control the board. For you pharmacy candidates taking paper 2, it's a bit more straightforward. 100 Category 1 questions for 100 marks. Finally, let's hit Section 5, the scoring system. So, how do you actually get points on the board? Well, this isn't your standard test where every question is treated the exact same way. You're probably wondering about the board's notorious partial scoring system, especially for those heavy-hitting Category 2 questions, because how you bubble your answers for these changes absolutely everything. It's all about risk versus reward. For Category 1 questions, you get a point for a right answer, but if you guess wrong, it hurts. You lose a quarter of a mark. Now, Category 2 questions are worth 2 whole marks each. They're technically safer because incorrect answers don't give you negative marks. But here's the catch. They demand absolute precision. If a question has multiple right answers and you bubble in even one incorrect option, boom, your entire answer is thrown out and you get a 0 for that question. No exceptions. But what if a question has 3 correct options? You know 2 of them for sure, but that third one has you completely stumped. If you only mark those 2 correct options and you completely avoid the wrong ones, you actually get a partial victory. You just use this formula the board provides. It's 2 multiplied by the number of correct options you marked, divided by the total number of actually correct options. It's honestly a pretty brilliant way to reward what you do know, just as long as you don't take a wild guess and get it wrong. Of course, all of that brilliant strategizing means nothing if the machine can't read your paper. Remember, a completely unforgiving optical scanner is grading this. You have to use a blue or black ink ballpoint pen. You have to darken those bubbles completely. If you leave stray marks, if you scratch something out, half fill a bubble, or use whiteout, the machine is just going to throw your response in the digital trash. Once you bubble it in, it is final. There are no edits. Okay, so what happens if you fight hard, but you end up with the exact same score as someone else? Who gets that seat? Well, the board uses a super strict waterfall sequence to break ties. First, they check who has fewer negative marks overall. Still tied? Then it heavily favors math. Whoever has more positive marks in math wins. Still tied after that, it goes to whoever has fewer negative marks in math, and then cascades down to physics scores, and so on. Basically, accuracy, especially in math, is your ultimate tiebreaker. All right, we've translated the dense rules, we've pointed out the application traps, and mapped out that scoring minefield. But actually getting to that coveted second-year seat, that is entirely in your hands now. Armed with this explainer, look at the syllabus, figure out your strengths, and ask yourself, what is the very first step you're going to take today to conquer JELA 2025? Get out there and make it happen. Good luck!